But a new study has shed light into one of the most intimate and mysterious chapters of human history: the interbreeding of Neanderthal men and human women.
For over 160 years, we've been told a simple story about Neanderthals. They were a separate species, an evolutionary dead end, replaced by superior Homo sapiens spreading out of Africa. But breakthrough research in 2024 has shattered this narrative, and the truth is far more extraordinary than we imagined. The 200,000-year relationship. In July 2024, a Princeton University team led by Joshua Akey published findings that fundamentally change how we understand our relationship with Neanderthals. Using advanced machine learning techniques and a tool called IBD Mix, they analyzed genetic data and made a stunning discovery. Modern humans and Neanderthals didn't just meet once and briefly interbreed 50,000 years ago, as previously thought. They encountered each other repeatedly across nearly 250,000 years. The research identified 3 distinct waves of contact: 200,000 to 250,000 years ago, 100,000 to 120,000 years ago, 50,000 to 60,000 years ago, the largest wave. Liming Lee and Josh Akey's research demonstrates that modern humans have been interbreeding with Neanderthals for more than 200,000 years, fundamentally contradicting the old out-of-Africa model that claimed humans stayed in Africa until 50,000 years ago before dispersing globally. The single extended encounter. 2 independent studies published in December 2024, one in Science and another in Nature, corroborated each other with remarkable precision. Both pinpointed the major period of interbreeding to approximately 47,000 years ago, lasting about 7,000 years. Yet this genome-based estimate is consistent with archaeological evidence that modern humans and Neanderthals lived side by side in Eurasia for between 6,000 and 7,000 years. The research analyzed 58 ancient genomes alongside hundreds of modern ones, creating a catalog of Neanderthal ancestry segments in modern humans. What they found was astonishing. Most non-Africans today carry 1 to 2% Neanderthal DNA, and virtually all of it traces back to this single prolonged period of contact. UC Berkeley's Priya Moorjani, one of the study's senior authors, explains, "The timing is really important because it has direct implications on our understanding of the timing of the out-of-Africa migration, as most non-Africans today inherit 1 to 2% ancestry from Neanderthals." The rapid natural selection. What happened to Neanderthal genes after they entered the human genome is equally fascinating. The research revealed that natural selection acted swiftly, within roughly 100 generations after the gene flow. Benjamin Peter notes that patterns in the DNA suggest interbreeding may not have been entirely random, and factors such as geography or culture may have influenced which groups of humans were more likely to interact with Neanderthals. Some Neanderthal gene variants provided immediate benefits. Genes related to skin pigmentation, metabolism, and immune function were particularly advantageous, helping modern humans adapt to new climates as they migrated out of Africa. But not all Neanderthal DNA survived. Researchers identified Neanderthal deserts, regions of the human genome completely devoid of Neanderthal sequences. Leonardo Iasi notes that very early modern humans from 40,000 years ago don't have any ancestry in these deserts, suggesting these sequences were eliminated soon after the interbreeding began due to their harmful effects on health and reproduction. This helps explain why East Asians have about 20% more Neanderthal DNA than Europeans. If modern humans moved eastward around 47,000 years ago with their newly acquired Neanderthal genes, and selection continued removing harmful variants over time, Western populations had more time for this genetic cleansing to occur. What this means about species. The discovery of extensive interbreeding has reignited one of paleoanthropology's oldest debates. Are Neanderthals and Homo sapiens the same species or different ones? The question is more complex than it seems. Different researchers use different frameworks. The biological species concept defines species as groups that can interbreed and produce fertile offspring. By this definition, Neanderthals and Homo sapiens would be the same species since we clearly interbred successfully for thousands of years. But as Chris Stringer from the Natural History Museum in London points out, many other species of mammal interbreed with each other. For example, different kinds of baboons, wolves, and wild dogs, bears, and large cats. Modern genomics has revealed that interbreeding between distinct species is far more common than we once thought. The morphological species concept focuses on physical differences. Pronounced differences in the brain case, ear bones, and pelvis can still be recognized in fossils of Neanderthals and Homo sapiens from 100,000 years ago, suggesting a separate evolutionary history going back much further. Stringer concludes, "In my view, if Neanderthals and Homo sapiens remained separate long enough to evolve such distinctive skull shapes, pelvises, and ear bones, they can be regarded as different species, interbreeding or not." The cultural question. For decades, the archaeological evidence for Neanderthal symbolic behavior and complex culture has been hotly debated. But recent findings have been transformative. Intentional burial. A 50,000-year-old Neanderthal skeleton discovered in a cave in France was intentionally buried, according to a new 13-year reanalysis of the site at La Chapelle-aux-Saints. The Neanderthal's companions took great care to dig him a grave and protect his body from scavengers. Evidence from the La Chapelle site also suggests that Neanderthals were like us, in that they cared for their sick and elderly. The skeleton belonged to a Neanderthal who was missing most of his teeth and showed signs of hip and back problems that would have made movement difficult without assistance. Symbolic objects. Evidence for Neanderthal ornamentation of the body is growing rapidly, with several clear cases of the use of feathers and claws of raptors and corvids emerging, as well as evidence for the wearing of shell beads with pigment. They used red and black mineral pigments, likely for body painting. They made composite tools from various materials, demonstrating sophisticated manufacturing knowledge, marking territory. A 2024 study suggests that both Neanderthals and Homo sapiens may have used burials as a form of territorial marking. Because caves were valuable shelters, burying their dead in or near these geological features may have been something like staking a claim to an area or marking territory as the hominins competed for resources and space. The disappearance. Around 40,000 years ago, Neanderthals vanished from the fossil record. But they didn't go extinct in the traditional sense. They were absorbed. Recent research suggests the process happened with remarkable speed. Assimilation through interbreeding is a strongly supported hypothesis explaining the rapid demise of the Neanderthals. One 2024 study even proposed that modern human advantages in sperm competition may have accelerated this genetic assimilation, and explaining not just the extinction of the Neanderthals, but the remarkable speed of that process. The Princeton research team discovered that a decreasing Neanderthal population was ultimately being absorbed into the modern human gene pool. The living legacy. Today, Neanderthal genes influence everything from our immune responses to hair color, skin pigmentation, and even our susceptibility to certain diseases. A 2024 study found that Neanderthal DNA variants affect our risk for multiple sclerosis and Alzheimer's in European populations. Their genes helped us adapt to new environments outside Africa. When modern humans encountered unfamiliar diseases, new climates, and different food sources, Neanderthal DNA, refined through hundreds of thousands of years of Eurasian evolution, provided crucial advantages. Benjamin Peter explains, "Our study provides the most detailed insights yet into how Neanderthal gene flow impacted human genomes, helping us understand when Neanderthals and humans interacted, which Neanderthal genes were beneficial for our ancestors, and the forces that influence genetic diversity." The ongoing debate. Despite all this evidence, the taxonomic status of Neanderthals remains contested. A 2024 paper in the Evolutionary Journal of the Linnean Society argues that the available evidence is best interpreted by seeing speciation as a process that unfolds gradually over time and space. While interbreeding between H. sapiens and Neanderthals did occur, their visibility in the fossil record implies a story of persistence, accompanied by the accumulation of more adaptations, granting them separate evolutionary status and taxonomic identity, Homo neanderthalensis. Others argue for merging the Neanderthals in an expanded concept of Homo sapiens based on the extensive genetic evidence of interbreeding and behavioral complexity. Jeffrey Schwartz, a physical anthropologist at the University of Pittsburgh, advocates for an interdisciplinary approach. We need a holistic approach, and we can't keep pitting one discipline against another. We have to get together and figure it out, what the science really shows. Here's what we can say with confidence based on current research. Neanderthals and Homo sapiens encountered each other repeatedly over 200,000 plus years, not just once. They successfully interbred for at least 7,000 years, around 47,000 years ago, producing fertile offspring. Yet 1 to 2% of non-African DNA today comes from Neanderthals, providing beneficial adaptations still active in our genomes. Neanderthals possessed symbolic thought and complex culture, including burial practices, body ornamentation, and sophisticated tool-making. They cared for their sick and elderly, demonstrating compassion and social bonds. They didn't go extinct. They were absorbed into the expanding Homo sapiens population. Whether they were a separate species or subspecies remains scientifically debated, with valid arguments on both sides depending on which species concept you use. The real story. The old narrative of Neanderthals as primitive brutes replaced by superior Homo sapiens was never supported by evidence. It was a story we told ourselves to feel exceptional. The reality is far more interesting. For hundreds of thousands of years, multiple human lineages coexisted, interbred, and exchanged genes across Africa, Europe, and Asia. Neanderthals were one expression of this complex human family. They adapted to Ice Age Europe for over 300,000 years, developing unique traits that proved valuable when modern humans arrived. When these two populations met, they recognized each other as compatible mates and produced children together for millennia. Those children thrived, carrying Neanderthal genes that still protect us from diseases, help us adapt to different climates, and influence everything from our hair texture to our immune responses. As Johannes Krauss, a co-author of the Nature study notes, human history is not just a story of success. We actually went extinct several times. Many early human populations became evolutionary dead ends. But before they disappeared, they left their mark in our DNA. Neanderthals aren't a separate branch that died off. They're woven into the fabric of who we are today, part of the complex braided stream of human evolution that led to all of us. If you enjoyed this exploration of cutting-edge research revealing our deep connections to Neanderthals, subscribe for more fact-based investigations into human origins and evolution.